Phase one of how you're gonna transition from traditional sales like door-to-door B2B into remote high-ticket sales is applying to remote high-ticket sales roles. Pretty fucking obvious, but how we're gonna do that is this. Do not quit your current sales job right away. We're gonna apply to roles after your current sales job hours and on weekends. So you're gonna allocate about 4 hours a day or so on weekdays, Monday to Friday, and 8 hours a day on Saturdays and Sundays on weekends. The reason why you're not gonna quit your current sales job is this. I've gotten to 20K to 30K a month in commissions and became one of the top producers of the largest B2C sales training company in my first year in remote high-ticket sales. We've helped B2B corporate sales reps like Mateo make the transition from making $4,000 a month in in-person corporate sales to 11K a month in remote high-ticket sales while working part-time hours, 25 hours a week. That was in his second month in remote high-ticket sales. Or in-person sales reps like Joshua doing $5,000 to $6,000 a month to 11K a month in his first month full-time in remote high-ticket sales. And the reason why I'd recommend not quitting your current sales job right away is because you're still pulling in a good amount of living from it. You're getting maybe 60 grand a year, 100 grand a year, maybe more from it. And if you just quit right away, you still got bills to pay, right? Whether it be rent, mortgage, food, insurance, whatever it may be for yourself and the people that you care about. It's just that you want to be able to obviously earn more and spend more time with your family by transitioning into remote high-ticket sales, and you don't want to get in a place of your income being cut off right away. And if you say, but Brian, after my current sales job, I'm gonna be tired, but Brian, I have a family, I'm gonna be too tired to do both at the same time. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Welcome to how life works. There's innocent people's countries that are getting bombed out right now, and you're really gonna sit there and have the audacity to complain about your little first world problems. So I'm not gonna talk to those princesses. I'm only gonna speak to the people who actually serious about making a change in their life and have a better quality of life for themselves and for the people that they care about, okay? So here's what it's gonna look like, as we said. So from 9 to about 5 p.m., you're probably gonna do your current sales job, right? And after that, okay, let's cut you some slack. Give you some time to get home, shower, do what you gotta do, okay? And then have your family time for about an hour, hour and a half, okay? Maybe even 2 hours, whether it be dinner, whatever it may be. And then after that, we get to applying to roles. Okay, from about 8 p.m. to about 11:30 p.m., you're gonna apply to roles, okay? Now, obviously for our students, we show them exactly where to go find these roles because it's not like they're on Indeed or LinkedIn or sketchy Facebook groups. It's a bit different, as well as how to stand out in the application process to increase the probability. That's a whole different topic. If you wanna find out more about how our licensing program works for Real Sales System, after this video, you can go to the first link in the description box below and you can check that out. But in terms of that, you apply to roles, okay? You bang them out, okay? As Alex Ramon just says, volume negates luck. But it's not a matter of just like sprint, pray, just applying to a whole bunch of random businesses. There's a strategy to it, okay? But as you're doing that, the later of the day, let's say around for 30 to 60 minutes a day, you're gonna be practicing sales. Because while it's great that you have some sales experience in whatever you're selling right now, whether it be solar, door-to-door pest control, B2B corporate sales, car sales, whatever it may be, that's great. However, if you try to sell the remote high-ticket info products the same way you're selling those, it's gonna be a bit different, right? You're not gonna be selling a solar panel the same way you sell an online fitness program helping people lose weight or helping them start a business, okay? It's gonna be slightly different, which we also help our members with inside of a Real Sales System. They get to license my deal closing framework decision tree. But that being said, you still wanna practice that way. By the time you land the role, you're ready to go, okay? It's not like, okay, you land the role, now I gotta figure out how to sell this thing. I've never sold this thing before, okay? You're already practicing it that way. When you go in, you're ready to be ramped up, okay? You're ready to speak to leads right away, which is speed is very, very important. Now, I would not spend like 5 hours a day just practicing sales for this new industry. I don't really do that. It's not really necessary, but I would allocate about 30 to 60 minutes or so. But majority of the time is going into applying to roles. We gotta think, okay, which is gonna put money into my fucking bank account? Well, I gotta land a role, right? That is the most important. So 90%, 95% of your time and effort is going to that, applying to roles. That way you're landing a role ASAP, okay? So Monday to Friday, you're gonna do that. And on weekends, you're probably not gonna work your current sales job, right? Maybe you have like a day off, half day off, doesn't matter, okay? Don't think in terms of like, oh, Brian, I can't because of this reason. That doesn't fucking matter. Let's think in terms of, okay, solution oriented, right? Okay, what can I do with my current circumstances, with my current resources, okay? So on weekends, here's what we're gonna do. From about 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., more if you can, again, apply to roles, bang, 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 bang. Apply to new roles and do the follow-ups. So you do that, and also you're practicing the sales from 30 to 60 minutes a day after that, okay? And after, you can do whatever you wanna do, okay? Like spend family time, okay? Hour, 2 hours, take them out to a nice dinner, whatever, maybe you do that, okay? And after that, if you wanna keep going more at it, keep applying to roles. As Harmozy says, volume negates luck. Here's one of the biggest reasons why people will have trouble landing roles. It takes forever, okay? Most people, it takes them maybe 3 to 6 months. Even I've seen worst case, even up to a year where they still haven't landed a role. They're still stuck at their current sales job. The reason for that is because number one, their approach sucks, okay? Their quality. And then number two is the quantity. The volume is just not enough, okay? Whenever I'm speaking to somebody, it's like, hey, Brian, I'm struggling to land the role. I'm like, okay, well, how many roles are you applying to each day? It's like, oh, like 1 to 2 a day. I'm like, well, if you're applying to 1 to 2 a day, I mean, is your track record so fucking amazing that you could get away with 1 to 2 a day? He's like, well, you know, I closed this one deal one time. I was like, okay, but how much cash have you collected? Where were you in the leaderboard? What business have you sold for in this high ticket space specifically? And they're like, they can't answer, right? And so in that case, 1 to 2 a day is just not gonna you're not gonna get away with that in most instances. So volume is important. At least 10 roles you're applying to each day. Obviously more the merrier. And obviously it's not like, oh, 10 like copy paste sounding like a bot. No, again, there's a very specific approach to it. You gotta stand out. You gotta have a pattern interrupt. You cannot sound like everybody else that says, oh, I'm gonna work hard. I'm a hardworking, just give me a shot. Everybody fucking says that to them. So you gotta have a way to stand out. So you do that on Saturdays and Sundays, okay? When you do this, typically the framework that we give our members to, obviously we give them feedback in the intra-loom videos and the outreach efforts, so on and so forth. Obviously, we have our internal recruitment pipelines that our members can get access to on day one inside a real sales system as well, which also helps them. A lot of our members get their roles through that approach. So typically on average for our members, it takes about 2 to 4 weeks to land the role. 6 weeks if they're really taking their time, right? Joshua is an example. Joshua came into the program recently, door-to-door sales rep. Prior, had no high-ticket sales experience. He was doing okay, right? He was doing like 10 to 12 grand a month in commissions in door-to-door. He wanted to spend more time with his family, so he came to us, got into the program, and applied to the internal recruitment pipelines that we give to our members. And within 11 days, he landed a role. And now he's able to start selling remote. So that's gonna be week 1 to week 2. We wanna move with urgency. Urgency is everything, right? Elon Musk had an interview. People asked him, hey, Elon, how are you accomplishing all these different things, launching rockets to space and all these kind of things? And Elon said, well, I ask myself, paraphrasing here, I ask myself, what is my 12-year goal and how can I accomplish that in 6 months? What are the actions required? What speed do I gotta move in? As well as who are the people that can help me get there? So we want to move at speed. When I first got into the space, it took me less than a week to start landing a role and start taking sales calls, okay? So we want to move at speed. So let's say after you land the role, here's what it's gonna look like on a day-to-day basis. Let's take weekday as an example, okay? Phase 2, you're typically gonna go through 1 week of the company onboarding process of the company you'll be selling for. Typically you're going through like product knowledge, like where's the CRM and all those kind of things, okay? Now, here's how I highly recommend. Most sales reps just wait just like 1 week, just jacking off as like, oh, you know, attend the team meetings, not doing much. Oh, waiting for book calls to come in. No, we don't do that. That's what princess closers do, okay? What we call princess closers are, they're very entitled. They just wait for things to happen to them. They're a leaf in the wind. They don't really succeed, okay? Just wait a couple weeks for them to lose that role. They gotta start the whole process all over again. Our approach is anti-princess approach here in the real sales system. So what we do is during the company onboarding process, we have our members go to the sales manager, whoever the direct supervisors, hey, listen, I know I'm going through the onboarding process. Are there any leads that have been already generated that's sitting in the CRM that can start dialing? And I can start doing outbounding and follow-ups. The reason why we want to do this is this. The only way to make money as a commission-only sales rep, which you are in this industry, okay, you eat what you kill, we all know that, is actually speaking to real-life prospects, leads, and selling them. That's how we get money to our bank account. And throughout that process, by talking to real life prospects, you get better. And the better you get, the more money you get. So it's a flywheel, okay? Now, most people, what they do is they just go through the company onboarding process. Maybe they watch a couple of YouTube videos, or maybe do like a role play with a sales rep from the same company, so on and so forth. Now, those things aren't necessarily bad, but how many of those things actually directly put money into our bank account? None of them. So that's not to say not get better with your skills. You want to do that, as we see in the calendar. We're going to go over that too. But the majority of your time, like I said, is actually being in the field and generating income, generating revenue, okay? So you're gonna go to your sales manager, hey, he's like, hey, listen, the reason why companies do this ramp up and onboarding process is because, well, if a new sales rep comes in, they don't wanna give all the good leads because they're spending money onto these leads, right? In this industry, typically, I mean, depending on the company you sell for, the company's gonna spend anywhere between $200 to $300 per booked call they're gonna put on your calendar. So imagine if they put 8 calls on your calendar right away, each day, and you're not even proven sales rep. It's a big risk for them, right? Which is why they kind of take their time to give you like a little bit of calls and slowly ramp you up. Now, take those inbound calls for sure. Just realize, okay, the more leads you speak to, the better you get and the more money you make. So you have the inbound calls coming in. You also want to be doing your outbound. Okay, we call this outbound closing inside a real sales system. So what you do is you go into your CRM and you start dialing these leads and then you close them. Pretty fucking obvious. So whether it be these leads that requested information, they left their email and phone numbers, like, hey, I'm interested, but they never booked a call, or these leads, maybe they booked a call but didn't show up. Again, we call them no-show leads, or people that hopped on a sales call but didn't buy. We call them no-sale follow-ups, okay? Or it could be that people that bought like maybe like a lower ticket program, maybe like a $50 ebook, or maybe the lower ticket course, maybe like a 2K, 3K, and you're trying to upsell them into the 5K, 10K, 20K program, okay? So when you're doing this, you get better quicker because you're talking to prospects in real time. You get to hear their objections, their common concerns, their common lingo, their common pain points, their common desires. And as you're closing deals, you're getting better. You're learning as you're earning. So you want to be doing that. And when you do this, you're just gonna be way ahead of this princess closers. They're just like they're jerking off and go getting a massage during their no-shows or something. So this is phase 2. Okay, you're taking sales calls inbound and outbound. So what you're gonna do is, okay, current sales job, like I mentioned, maybe 9 to 6. Okay, get home, family time, dinner, same old, same old. Okay. Now, these are a bit interchangeable, okay? You can practice sales for 30 minutes and apply as you're taking the sales calls, or you can get to taking sales calls right away, depending on when your sales calls start and depending on how your family time works, right? Because typically, if you're taking inbound calls, you may start at the top of the hour, so on and so forth. So it's fine. I'll just allocate about 30 to 60 minutes a day practicing sales. And most of that is you're just talking to leads the whole time, okay? Even if the company only gives you 2 sales calls a day, even if you get a no-show, we don't sit there. Lazy fucking princess closers do that, which they get left behind. The reason how I was able to become one of the top producers at one of the largest sales training companies in the world, despite I had the least sales experience, is because I was doing this. I had my own no-show that I was following. I called it a no-show SOP, again, which we give to our members, is whenever I got a no-show or no lead on the calendar, I knew how to go into the CRM and hunt and make things happen and close deals. Okay, so this is how I outsold and outperformed reps that had 5, 10 more years of sales experience than me, and reps that were making way more money in other companies, other offers. They would come into this company and I still outstole them. So however many hours you can take and however many hours of calls you can handle, inbound and outbound, 4 hours a day on weekdays, and on weekends, same thing as how we're applying to roles. Now you landed the role, you don't need to apply for roles anymore. From 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or however much you can take and handle, that's when you take the sales calls. Again, inbound, outbound. Both, okay? It's not an either or, it's both. And then after that, you can practice sales, review your own sales calls, debrief, as well as you can still spend more time with your family if you want to. So that's Saturdays and Sundays. And phase 3 is slowly starting to phase out of your current sales job, okay? So there's 2 different ways you can do this. You can slowly phase out, reduce the hours from your current sales job if you can, or you can just cut it out completely depending on the risk you're willing to tolerate and how much proof of concept you're getting from your remote high-ticket sales role. Okay, so what that means is when is a time to slowly phase out is when you get the proof of concept, okay? Meaning that, okay, your calendar is full, your commissions from the remote high-ticket sales role are starting to match your current sales job, or you can do the math in terms of, okay, so I'm doing this part-time right now, and it makes sense that if I were to do this full-time, it would at least match my current sales job, as well as I could exceed it, okay? So Mateo is a good example of that. So he was doing his, like I said, in-person B2B sales job, and he was doing 40 hours a week of that, going back to this case. This is exactly how it looked like pretty much, right? He was doing 40 hours a week from his in-person corporate sales job, okay? And then what he did was he did about 4 to 5 hours a day, Monday to Friday, for remote high-ticket sales role. So about 25 hours a week. So quite a bit of hours if you take into account, right? From his in-person sales job, I believe he was bringing about like 4 or 5 grand a month, so on and so forth. And from the remote high-ticket sales role, he was bringing 11K a month, doing 25 hours a week part-time. That was his second month. So in total, he was bringing about like 15, 16 grand a month, about 11K a month. Majority of that came from remote high-ticket sales, despite he was doing half the hours, right? So he's making triple the amount while working half the hours from remote high-ticket sales. At that point, you're like, okay, and I have a full calendar. Marketing doesn't seem like it's gonna stop. So it makes sense that I quit this job. So he had a lovely conversation with his boss at his corporate sales gig. He quit that and now he's going full time. And after that, phase 3, this is what it looks like. So typically, depending on how much you wanna do it, is typically up your choice. Because like I said, in this industry, you set your own hours. So 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. if you choose to do so, you're just gonna take the sales calls for remote high-ticket sales from your house or from anywhere, okay? So from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., you don't have your current sales job anymore. You can just go full-time with remote high-ticket sales. So you're looking at maybe 40 hours a week. If you wanna do more, you can do 50, 60 hours a week, okay? So from there, and then you can keep scaling up your commissions from that point. You can get to 10K, 15K, 20K a month. Obviously, depending on your skill set, your work ethic, and your ability to actually make it happen. So if you want a more full in-depth breakdown of how this industry works in terms of remote high-ticket sales, and also how to break into it step-by-step and get to 10K, 20K a month in commissions while doing remote, while being able to spend more time with your family without having to quit your current sales job right away, you can go here or the first link in the description box below. I'll see you there.